Good evening. My name is Chase Kearney. We're here at Conrad's Restaurant and Ale House. I'm with head men's basketball coach Chris McCabe. Coach, how are you doing?
Good, Chase. Thanks for having me.
Good.
Evening here at Conrad's.
Yeah. It's a nice little first Tuesday of the month. So the month of January had some games to hang our hat on, but it also had some games we probably wish we had back. What is the feeling around the locker room heading into these final 3 weeks?
Accurate description. Some games we're really proud of, and I thought made a lot of progress for where we want to go, but then some opportunities that for whatever reason we didn't capitalize on. We knew it in the moment, which is progress, because you could tell that this group really wants to achieve and perform at a high level, and so there were stretches where we were trying too hard. There were stretches where maybe we had some bad fortune, but the reality of it is we had to figure out a way to respond during the game in that setting, and we didn't a couple times. But you ask about the mood in the locker room. I think the thing that's refreshing as a coach and encouraging is the players know. They know during. They try to adjust so that it's not a continual problem. Our responsibility to try to help and put them in good positions. But it's a group that's hungry. And I think the thing that, if you go back and you look at the schedule and you look at the Thursday, Saturday, maybe when we've struggled or we've stubbed our toe or we've responded. Each time we've responded in a very positive way, and I think that speaks to who the guys are and what they believe we can accomplish together.
Yeah, and we saw that a little bit last week. What was that Maryville game? What kind of excites you about that?
Well, we were down 41-31. We called timeout, and I had no idea what to do. We were just a mess, and I wasn't sure what we were going to do to get us back in the game. I just knew we needed to play better. And so then you go on an 8-0 run. You get it 41-39. But then it's 43-41, and we get a hustle play tip out. So a play that doesn't show up in the box score, but we got a big guy who goes, rebounds, taps a ball to keep it alive, and Jermaine tracks it down in the corner and hits it. And you take a lead, and you can breathe a little bit because you're thinking, okay, we've made some progress getting back in this game. Now we just need to make it a 10-minute game. We made it, 10-minute game. We made some really, really big shots down the stretch. Jordan was phenomenal. And then Kobe made 2 plays. He had struggled, and then he made 2 huge plays for us, in crunch time to kind of push us over the edge. So, a great response at Maryville after you stub your toe a little bit at McKendree.
If you love basketball, you probably love to watch Harry play physically down in the paint. And it shows, right? He's leading the GLVC in rebounds. He's posted 7 double-doubles this season. We have some really other good, centers. But what it is about Harry from your seat at the game that impacts this team so much?
Well, number one is he cares so much about winning. I mean, that's, he told us that in his recruitment. He's told us that since he's been here. Sometimes he tells me that during the game. Is how much he cares about winning and what we've got to do to win. So that's number one. Number 2 is he is an incredibly, incredibly smart player. So he can see a play ahead. He can see multiple positions on the floor. He can see offense and defense. There are often times we'll come to the huddle, and I'll check in with him, or he'll say something in the huddle that is a coaching point that we were probably going to come to eventually. So his physical tenacity, he stays after plays. He's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid of mixing it up. But he just understands how to play the game for someone his size. And I mean, his numbers speak for themselves, right? I mean, he's almost averaging a double-double in the GLDC.
Yeah.
It's a terrific accomplishment, and I think he's got better, right? If you look at his shooting percentages, you look at everything but his free throw number has gone up in his 2 years with us, and it's been a steady progress because these are live game reps where, he didn't have a ton of game reps for a year. So he's a good one, man.
Maybe the shooter's paradise of the Maybe Center's paying off for Harry.
I've never heard it described that way, but we'll run with it.
When you look at a game program, something that really stands out is that if a student isn't an international student, they're from Kansas or Missouri. So how important is it to you to recruit local talent and build this program to win conference championships?
Yeah, it's really interesting when you say it like that because it seems so simple. When we got the job in April of 19, that was something that I had talked about during the interview process in March and April was Jewel's a great place, but we need to make it cool to be a Jewel. It needs to be a desirable place, not just for students, but student athletes, for people that want to compete and compete for championships. And we wanted to lock down the local area. Luckily, had relationships previously coming into this to know people, to have conversations about players. But then the other thing is those players have stuck with us, and they've gotten better. So the player that we have now that was a high school player in Missouri is a better player than when he was, because of the way that they've worked and committed to the weight room and the player development program and the study and everything. But I think you can have success with the players in this area, because I think there's really, really good players and really good basketball in Kansas City. And these guys have proven that. And, I mean, we start as local as it gets, right, with Liberty, with Grant, Jordan, and those guys that are just right here. And, you know, Trey Shannon was a huge part of that first class, and Javon, and then Robbie and Liberty. Like, you go down you're literally talking your own backyard, but then your international guys, you're, you know, all over the place. So, you know, we think the best basketball can be played right here.
Yes, it can. So you have a one-of-a-kind assistant coach in Christian Hildebrandt. You know, what are some of the qualities in Christian that you admire, and what does he bring day in and day out that makes him who and what he is to this program?
Well, so the biggest thing, and there's no doubt about this, is he's himself, right? Like, he is totally comfortable, confident in who he is, how confident he is because he can trust his abilities, because he is a smart basketball person, but then he's a great human. So he's phenomenal about relating to people, about recruiting, about connecting, and so then you have the total package. But then the thing about Christian, too, is he's never tried to be the head coach, right? Like, he is himself. He understands how important he is for our program, but then we have a good balance between us to be able to, you know, play the good cop, bad cop if you need to, and whatever else. But, you know, there's no doubt that part of the reason, and a large part of the reason why we've kind of had a positive trend line and trajectory of the program, is because of his loyal commitment and how talented and skilled he is at his job.
So is Coach Hildebrandt the good cop or the bad cop?
You know, that's another podcast or another interview session.
With senior day quickly approaching, right, our last home game, you know, what is one thing you've told your seniors or want to tell your seniors as the season comes to an end?
I can't, and I won't. I won't, and I won't do it here, and I can't do it because we're just going to keep playing as long as we can. Because they're not ready for it. We're not ready for it, and so we're just trying to be the best we can at biggest game of the year, which is Thursday. We've hopefully done right by them, and, you know, honored and respected them in a way, and continued to do it. But the conclusion isn't, in our eyes, hopefully it isn't near. So
sure.
We're on to a scouting report and a game plan.
Well, I certainly don't mean for our last home game to be our final game, but
right.
So for our social media question from the fans.
Oh boy, here
right,
we
your
go.
favorite part every month. What is the weirdest or most exotic food you've ever eaten?
Oh man. Well, that's a bad question for me, because I wouldn't branch out that far. I mean, maybe some sort of sauce or something I've put on something would be exotic, I would assume.
Okay, you got a sauce?
No, I have no. Whatever my wife said, try this, and I said no, and then she dipped what I was eating in it and gave it to me. It
Sure.
would probably be about the extent of it.
Sure.
So
Coach McCabe escapes another fan question. Coach, thank you for being here. Good luck the rest of the season. Catch the Cardinals at their next home game this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. We'll see you next month for Cardinals at Conrad's, and don't forget to eat, drink local.